Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I am here with my teaching assistants, cat and dog. And I don't know if you can hear it, but in honor of Gavin Green, who has won the award for most contact with me so far this week, I have, can you hear it? A little smooth jazz in the background for today's video and today's lesson. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about point of view for language arts. We have talked about first person, second person, and third person. And I'm going to take that a little bit further today and talk about kind of why it matters and how it can impact a story. So if you remember, first person is when a character in the story is telling the story from his or her perspective or point of view. You will know that because the character is talking using words like I and me and my. And that can be really personal to the reader because the reader almost feels like you are a part of the story. Another advantage of that point of view is you get to know what that character is thinking and feeling, and kind of an up close perspective on what he or she is going through. And obviously, depending on which character is telling the story, it can sound different. So whether the protagonist is telling the story, you're going to get his or her side or his or her version of the events. Whereas if it's a different character or the antagonist telling the story, it can sound completely different. And just like when we were doing our Iditarod writing, a lot of you wrote from the perspective or point of view of the dog and first person point of view. And that was hugely impactful because everyone who read those stories really felt a connection to that sled dog and really understood what he or she was going through. Same way with the 6-year-old who was watching. When you wrote from a first person perspective, it sounded completely different than when it was the dog, but it was still really impactful to the reader. Second person, I'm going to skip over a little bit. That's when the author is speaking directly to you and literally uses the words you as if you are a part of the text or teaching you some information. But it's so rarely used in literature that I'm going to kind of bypass that for now. And then the other two, when we talk about third person, it gets kind of separated into two categories. And so we talked about third person limited and third person omniscient. And third person limited is when an outside narrator is telling the story, but we really only know the thoughts and feelings of one of the characters in the story. And that can be really good. It can help the reader connect to that one character, just like in first person point of view. It does have that advantage that you really understand what that one character is going through. But it can have some disadvantages too, because typically in a novel or in a story or a book, there are a lot of characters. So if you're only hearing the thoughts and feelings of one of those characters, you aren't getting necessarily the whole story. And then the final one is third person omniscient. And it is when the narrator is telling the story, again, using words like he, she, they, but the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all the characters. So an advantage of that is, as a reader, you know what's going on and how everyone is thinking and feeling, from the good guy to the bad guy to maybe the kid in the story or the parents in the story. We know how everyone is feeling and being affected by the events in the story. A disadvantage of third person omniscient is it can become a little too much. It can become confusing even if you aren't exactly sure which character you're reading about. And I grabbed the book that I have been reading. I actually just finished it this morning. It's called The Woman in Our House. It is about a married couple, and the wife decides to she wants to go back to work, and she has 2 young kids, and so they hire a nanny to stay in their house with them to watch the kids while the wife goes back to work. But unfortunately, the nanny they think they hired is impersonating someone else. So they think that they have someone named Oakland working in their home and helping with their kids, but it's actually someone named Nadine who stole Oakland's identity, and she is causing trouble and threatening the family. And so I liked this book. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, but this was written in third person omniscient. So an outside narrator was telling the story, and I got to hear what the husband was thinking and feeling throughout this. I got to hear and see how the wife was being affected by the events. I got her thoughts and feelings. And then kind of the cool part was that nanny who everyone thought, the family thought was one person, but she was actually someone else. And so hearing kind of her thoughts and feelings and why she was doing what she was doing was really cool as a reader. So that is today's 6-minute point of view lesson and how different points of view can affect a story. And my assistants, they are slacking on the job, as you can see. They are not social distancing. That is not 6 feet apart. So what I would like for you to do when you pick up a book today, find something. An old book you've already read, a kid's book even, a picture book. If your parents have a book lying around, just to determine point of view. Think about a couple things. What point of view is that book written in? How it impacts you as a reader. What do you learn or not learn because of the point of view? And how would it be different if it were written in a different point of view? So this book, for example, if it were written from the point of view first person of just the wife of the family, then I would feel really connected to her, but I wouldn't know kind of the behind the scenes of the nanny. I wouldn't know what she was thinking and feeling or why she was doing what she was doing. So while I would know a lot more about the wife, I think it would take away a little bit from the book because I wouldn't know what the crazy psychopath was thinking and feeling in first person. So think about a book and what point of view it's in and how it would be different if it were written in another point of view. That is my video for today. I hope you are doing well and staying safe and healthy and getting lots of work done. Feel free to reach out to me. You can message me on It's Learning. My home internet is down right now, which is really inconvenient since we're doing e-learning. But I obviously can still be on my phone and have data on my phone. So let me know if you need anything. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.